comic. Super excited to have him here. He's been featured in the fucking New Yorker. Please put your hands together for Dan Fitzpatrick.
Give it up for Veronica. Very great. Love to see it. You guys having a good summer? Are we enjoying it? Yes, I know I am. I'm having a blast. I'm running around the city dressed up like an underweight Magnum PI. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. I've had a good time. I went outdoor drinking in the park this weekend. That's the best. You guys like that? It's so much fun to just get wasted sitting in the middle of the lawn. But I don't know, when you think about it, like drinking outside, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, you wake up, you look out the window, you're like, oh my God, it's the nicest day of the year outside. Sure would be a shame if we remembered it. Right? Gotta black out these memories before they happen, baby, that's right. So I do that. People ask me for recommendations what to do in New York in the summer, and here's my favorite free thing to do in the city. I love to camp outside the M&M store in Times Square and watch tourists buy $100 worth of candy that will immediately melt. Yeah. Could have gotten Hamilton tickets, but instead you got some garbage to carry around. That's fine. Good choice, sports. You did it. We're killing it out there. But yeah, glad to be here. I'm in kind of a weird mood though. I had a weird little dinner before I came here. You know, you just like throw together food sometimes. But before I came here, I just ate half a pack of Kraft Singles. Hell yeah. You guys are familiar. It's the cheese that comes in the condom wrapper for some reason. Every slice for your protection. I assume. It's not even cheese, right? It's like rubber. It's made in a lab somewhere. So on the bright side, it never goes bad. So that number or the date they print on the side of the package, that's not the expiration date, guys. That's just a rough estimate of the next time you'll be able to take a dump. April 2026 sounds about right. Looking forward to it. Kind of a funny story, actually, how the folks at Kraft came up with the name for Kraft Singles. They call it cheese Kraft Singles because when you eat it, it feels like you have no one in the world who loves you. I eat a lot of junk food now. I was kind of sheltered growing up, I think. Like, we didn't have any processed food in the house. We had a family motto, which was, if a food has an ingredient in it and you can't pronounce the name of that ingredient, you should not eat the food. And coincidentally, that was also why my cousin with the lisp starved to death. Like, sorry, Christopher. In this household, we don't serve sandwiches. That's how it works. That's how it goes. 30 years old. A lot of people, they're bummed out about being 30. Not me. I'm actually pretty pumped to be 30. It means I'm finally old enough to play a teenager on a TV show. This look right here is what we call CW sophomore. Just the right amount of facial hair to go to prom, baby. It's good. But yeah, I'm a millennial. I see some others here. We're everyone's favorite generation to shit on. To an extent, I do get it. Because millennials, we're the first generation where we could be whatever we wanted. We could pick any of the things, and a lot of us picked all the wrong things. You know? So many of us got out of college, and it's like, hey, what do you want to do with your life? Well, think about opening up a restaurant for dogs. How about that? Throw away grandma's inheritance on that little dream. How about that? But I don't know if all the older people are as cool and confident as they deserve to be. Like, sure, millennials aren't that great. I think it's very important to make fun of old people, especially the oldest people out there. I'm talking about like the so-called greatest generation, if you guys are on board. Because first off, the greatest generation, they slept on that label pretty goddamn quick, don't you think? Back in 1951, they thought they had it all wrapped up. I don't know, very smug. They did stop Hitler, they deserve credit for that. He was a pretty bad dude, he shouted a lot, famously. But I don't know if everyone gets credit for that equally, you know? Like, I have family in the war. My grandfather on my mom's side, he served in the Canadian Air Force during World War II. And everyone, that is a polite way of saying that he did not help. Don't see a lot of History Channel docs about the flying Canadian aces swooping into Berlin and saving the day. I don't know, they're up to on D-Day, but does the Canadian Air Force even have planes in it? Or they might just duct tape a pistol to a goose and set it free. I some adult stuff, though. A couple months ago, I got married. You see this little thing on my hand? Yeah. A lot of people, they get nervous before their wedding. I admit I was losing a little bit of sleep before the night, the big day. Not for the usual reasons. I was not scared about the lifelong commitment part, no. I was nervous about the part of the wedding where I had to slow dance with my mom. What kind of fucked up shit is that? It's the biggest day of my life. One second I'm kissing the woman I love, the next second I'm putting my hands on the hips that birthed me. That is insane. It's so stressful. Everything's so expensive too. Like I found during the wedding planning process, I just didn't think about money. I forget everything I knew about money and try to come at every purchase with like a childlike sense of wonder. You know, I'd be like, oh, $1,000 for a really good cake. Yeah, that sounds fair. Yeah, how about just be safe? Let's diversify our portfolio with some flowers that we'll throw out tomorrow. That's pretty smart. That's good. Yeah, we paid for the wedding. We're in good shape now. I actually learned my now wife makes more money than I do. Very progressive couple, you might say. I don't care, honestly. I'm proud of her. It doesn't bother me that she, is the bigger breadwinner. And the main reason for that is that, guys, it is not even close. Like, if we're making a little bit, closer amount of money, I could work a little harder, I could close that gap. Guys, she is blowing me out of the water with the B team, man. It is insane. Like, it's almost like we're getting paid in different types of currency. If that makes sense. Like, you look at her bank vault, it's huge. She's got a giant pile of gold bricks, rubies, and pearls, stuff like that. You look at my bank vault, what does Dan have? Yeah, he's got a bunch of those packets of extra buttons you get when you buy a new shirt. That's his big investment. Okay, my wife makes so much money, get this, her salary has a comma in it. Isn't that crazy? All punctuation humor for the Upper West Side. But, no, we've been in New York for some time. We love life up here. Are we visiting? Are we in the city? Anyone from out of town? Yeah, from out of town. I meet people who, coming from the suburbs or smaller cities, they're always, kind of on edge. I know some people who are just terrified of being in New York. They think they're going to get, robbed, murdered instantly. And I always tell them the same thing. Empty your pockets or I'll shoot. But, I don't know, bad things happen here. But even, the crime is overblown. I've actually been a victim of a violent crime here in New York City. This is true. A couple years ago, I got mugged at knife point. And I walked away fine. I, lost some stuff, but was ultimately fine. I was not harmed. And I came to the realization that a mugging is just an awkward conversation. Maybe the most awkward conversation you'll have in your life. So in my case, my dude started pretty typical, give me the business, give me your stuff. But then he changed up the script. The guy started telling me about his life and his problems at knife point and why he had to resort to robbing people. And in that moment, my brain switched from panic to boredom. Which is not supposed to happen. You know what feeling I got? I got that feeling you get when you're watching a bad movie, you think it's about to end, and it turns out there's 20 more minutes. I was actually looking forward to the part where I got to give him all my stuff, because I could finally go home. Right? If anything, I don't know. I was not hard. If anything, he was the real victim, right? He committed a violent felony for $36 cash and an iPhone 5. But, if you are curious, they did catch the guy a couple weeks after my run with him. And again, I was not harmed, just walked away. But it did turn out, in that same time span, he did rob 2 other people, and they both got stabbed. They lived, but they both got stabbed. So you guys know what that means, right? I was his favorite. I don't know. I guess I made a connection. I kept the conversation going. I don't know how to really connect. I asked follow-up questions. He'd be like, don't move or I'll stab you. I'd be like, stab me where? I'm doing it on time. I got the light, right? Yeah. I'm good? Okay. Which one of my jokes would you like to hear again? Like I said, 30 years old. I have a fear deep down that I'm running out of time to become a child prodigy. Yeah, no one gives a shit if a 30-year-old dude suddenly becomes pretty good at chess. That's just a hobby, am I right? I went through a lot of phases when I was younger trying to be good at different things, all pretty much failures. Maybe the biggest failure, I didn't take piano lessons for like 6-7 years when I was a kid, and I was so bad. I hated piano too, never got any better. My parents forced me to do it, and the way they justified it at the time, they told me I'd be grateful for piano when I was older because, quote, there's nothing that people like better at a party than a guy who knows how to play the piano. Any wild guests out there for how many times I've tinkled the arteries at a social function? Come on. Go ahead. Price is Right style. Pick a number. Pick one. 1, too high, it's 0 times. Which is honestly fine, right? A party where I play piano at, that's just the world's worst party, right? What kind of social gathering builds to that where the hosts look around and you're like, alright, I'm having a pretty good time, this is good. Hey, everybody gather around real quick, yeah. Quick announcement, we're going to turn the lights all the way up and listen to Dan bang out Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Party, yeah, hey, you guys in the bathroom doing drugs, you want to experience a real high, yeah. Get out here, Dan's going to sit in front of this Yamaha keyboard and press most of the right buttons. God, that's how you know I'm not a good piano player. I call the keys buttons. I'm Dan Fitzpatrick, keep it going for